Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and welcome back to the start of a new reading vlog. Today is July 2nd. It is the first day of Summerween, which is a readathon that is being hosted by Gabby and Olivia. Gabby from her channel Gabby Reads and Olivia from her channel Olivia Reads a Latte. I will put all of the information down in the description box, but without further ado, let's go ahead and chat about what books I'm planning on reading for this week-long readathon. So this readathon goes until July 8th, and I just want to thank Gabby and Olivia right now, because obviously they did it just for me, and everyone else who has a 3-day weekend. Fantastic, that gives me plenty of time to read as much as possible. So the prompts for the readathon, I have already forgotten them and I don't think I wrote them down. One of them is to read a horror novel, and right off the bat I'm reading Hunted by Darcy. I'm actually reading this for my personal book club, and book club is tomorrow. I am on page 292. I've got like a third of the book left to read. This is about a group of people who go into the forest to find a missing person. So Aileen is the missing girl, and she goes on a hike and then is missing, and her brother Chris doesn't want to give up on her, and so him and his friends go into the forest and they're trying to find her. Simple enough, okay? I have to say, I think it's interesting because when you read a horror novel, like, your blood gets pumping because it's scary or it's intense or it's thrilling, something like that. But for me, like, I have a stomach ache just thinking about the fact that these people are alone by themselves in a forest and they have no way to get home. That's the part that's really getting to me right now. But anyway, so this could go in a couple of different directions. Maybe cryptozoology, Bigfoot, or crazy people in the woods. I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to be more monster-like just because of Darcy Coates' other books. This is also the first book that I've read by her, so that's what I'm reading for that book. Another of the prompts is to read a book in the dark, which, just like last Summerween, I am going to be reading a graphic novel. This is A Gift for a Ghost, and it is by Borja Gonzalez. Borja Gonzalez. And I just love, it's another like sheet ghost graphic novel, but I think this one is supposed to be a bit more, this one is an adult graphic novel, and I don't think it's actually about ghosts. So two parallel stories reflect and intertwine in a tale of youthful dreams and desires. 1856, Teresa, a young aristocrat, is more interested in writing avant-garde horror poetry than making a suitable marriage. In 2016, 3 teenage girls, Gloria, Laura, and Christina, want to start a punk band called the Black Holes. They have everything they need: attitude, looks, instinct, and an alarming lack of musical talent. So they're haunted by the echo of something that happened 160 years ago. I think this is going to be really interesting. I'm really excited to read it. And it'll be really easy for me to read in the dark. Another of the prompts is to read a book that's got black or orange or both on the cover, which this book would definitely work for that because it's got black. This book would work because there's orange. I have this book, A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This is not a horror book. It is I guess you could call it a horror novel. It is, I think it's a romance, but it's like a retelling of Dracula. So I think this would be perfect for Summerween. It doesn't have to be scary. It just has to be Halloween-esque, you know? So no, I don't really have any plans after these two books. I could also read Verity by Colleen Hoover, because that is a, what do they call it? A romantic suspense. A thriller romance. I don't know what you would want to call that, but I could read either of those as well. And then I have 2 other Darcy Coates books out right now from the library, Parasite and Voices in the Snow. which I could very well read one of those. I have no idea what I want to do. Honestly, after reading this Darcy Coates book, I don't know that I would want to read another one. Although one of them, I think, is about zombies. I think Voices in the Snow is about zombies, maybe. And I'd be okay with reading a zombie book. I don't know that I've ever read a book that had zombies in it. So I'm not going to finish this tonight because I'm not going to read it anywhere close to bedtime because I will not sleep. I'm that type of person. So I don't have book club until 12:30 tomorrow, so I'm definitely going to be able to finish this. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and read more of this now, and I'll update you. I don't know, do I want to talk spoilers? I feel like it's hard to talk about horror and not talk spoilers. I will say this book is interesting. I like it because it's following different perspectives. It followed, did it follow? Yeah, so the prologue or chapter 1, it followed Aileen, who's the girl who went missing in the beginning. And then it follows her brother, Chris. And then it followed Todd, who is Chris's best friend and who's kind of obsessed with Aileen. It followed him. And it also follows Clara, who is a police officer who works in the city where this takes place. And I like her perspective a lot, especially in contrast to the other perspectives, because they're all from college age kids, which is fine, but there are parts of this that I'm just like, no. Like, they're all college age, like undergrad college age, university students. And the one girl, Anna, is a psychology student, and she's like super smart, which is one thing, but she's also like psychoanalyzing them, and then like survival mode, she's like super smart, and she's talking about like other things. I'm just like, there is no way that this girl knows all of that or is all of these things. Like, I feel like you're trying too hard to have a person who knows enough about what they're doing, and then so I don't, her character I feel like is too much. She should have spread that out into the other characters. Also, at this point I feel like it's too long. Like 450 pages for a horror novel is too long for me, one because I don't really like horror, and also just because like nothing happens for long chunks and then it's like cliffhanger at the end of a chapter. And I don't really see the point of developing Carla. Was it Carla or Kara? Carla. Carla's character, the police officer. Like, they talk about how she'd lost a baby 3 years ago or something like that in an accident that happened at the precinct with like this guy who goes crazy from methamphetamines and attacks her, and she loses a baby. And like, they talk about that and how her marriage falls apart like as an effect, and I don't understand at this point why that matters. So like, I feel like it was a waste of time. Maybe it'll matter by the end of it, who knows, but I just like, I didn't need that. It didn't like make me like her character more or less. It just was unnecessary. So welcome to the start of a new reading vlog. I'm gonna go ahead and read and stop talking to you because I'm done. Good morning. I finished Hunted by Darcy Coates this morning. I'm kind of stuck between a 3 and a 4. Just, one, this book is way too long. She could have cut out probably 100 pages here and there, and the effect would have been the same. I liked the ending in some ways, and then in another way, still conflicted about it. I will say that the majority of this book was not surprising to me, which is not something that bothers me. Like, when I read a thriller or a horror novel, I'm not worried about whether I can, like, it's not a bad book if I can guess what's going to happen. Like, I don't mind it being predictable, because it's not just about, like, the ending, it's about the entire book, you know? So that didn't bother me at all. The one part in the ending that I didn't like is because it's just like not the type of person I am. And so it's not like that part of the book is bad. It's just not something that I myself am. I'm not that type of person. I'm trying to not spoil this book, obviously, but I think the majority of the people who read this book and got to the ending would probably be fine with it because that's how media is. I will say I liked this book because of the characters. I'm finding when it comes to thrillers and horror that I need characters that I can root for. So like books that I can think about that I didn't like because I didn't like the characters, like A House at the Bottom of the Lake by Josh Malerman. I hated both of those characters, and that's probably why I didn't like that book, because the characters were dumb. Let's see, another book. I recently read 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson, and I didn't like the main character, and that's why, that's not like the main reason, but that's one of the reasons why I didn't like that book. And so in this book, where the police officer, Carla, I really liked her character, and so I think that really helped. And the group of friends that go into the forest to look for the missing girl, I really liked them for the most part. They're not very fleshed out characters, but they're just, like they're just like real people who have real feelings and struggles, and I feel like that came through in the book. So I liked the characters. I mean, this book isn't really fleshed out, but I don't really feel like that's the purpose in a thriller or a horror novel. I did like that it wasn't cannibals. That might be a spoiler for you, but I'm glad that it wasn't super creepy. This book, the beginning of it, made me think of Supernatural, if you're a Supernatural fan. The episode that I'm thinking in particular that it makes me think of is the Wendigo episode. It might even be the first episode. It's like in the very first season, the first few episodes, where they go to investigate people who have gone missing in a forest, and it ends up being a Wendigo, which in Supernatural world, this monster was created because he was eating people. So that's kind of what it made me think in the beginning. That was the vibe I was getting, and then towards the end I was like, this is an episode of Criminal Minds, and I'm okay with that. I really like Criminal Minds, so overall I didn't hate this. Not a new favorite, but okay, it was a good read. And then next up for Summerween, I'm not planning on reading anything right now. I think I'm going to try to film a video before I have book club. And then tonight I'll probably read A Gift for a Ghost. Really quick, read it in the dark. I have a lot of books that I need to return to the library. Yeah, I really need to go to the library. They won't be open, but I'll go ahead and just drop some books off in the book drop, so I really want to read this tonight. And then maybe tomorrow I'll get started on A Diary of Blood. This is actually a book that when I was saying yesterday that I think it was independently published, my library actually didn't own this book, and I just requested that they buy it because I had heard about it somewhere that I don't remember, and I finally got it in, so that's kind of why I'm looking forward to reading it. It's kind of strange. It's separated into parts, but it doesn't have chapters. Like, there are no headings, no chapters at all. It really looks like the person who wrote this book kind of was just like free writing, and then they just published it. They didn't go back and like insert chapters or anything. Just like if you, it's like it would be like a blank page that would end a chapter, but instead of having it a chapter, it's just like the story continues, but it's not like every page, like, so I don't know, it's weird. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that it's a good one. We'll see. But now I'm gonna try to get a video recorded, so see you later. Hello everyone, and happy Sunday. I am already back in my pajamas. It's around 2 o'clock now. Had a pretty eventful day so far. Went to the gym, got some coffee, cleaned a lot of my room, and me and my mom, well, my family has had a particularly rough week, and I decided, like, let's do something fun this weekend. We were originally gonna go get our nails done, but then we just decided to have lunch, and we went to Olive Garden, and it was really nice and delicious, and yeah, So yeah, that's what I've been up to today. I did want to talk about what I started reading last night. I only read the first chapter, but I'm reading Voices in the Snow by Darcy Coates. Okay, now one of the prompts is to read a book with black or orange on the cover. It does not say the color black or the color orange. It just says with black or orange, okay? And this book is a black winter novel. So the word black is on this cover. And if I finish it, this is what I'm counting for that prompt. So far, it sounds like it's, because my sister recommended this to me because I'm really wanting to read like a good like zombie kind of book, and this one kind of has, she said, like some kind of zombie element to it, which you can kind of already tell from the very first chapter, because our main character Claire is on the run, not on the run, that sounds like she's running from something, kind of. She is in her car driving to her aunt's house to pick her up so that she can take her aunt and herself to her sister's bunker because the world's coming to shit. Let's see what she says specifically. Like she sees something on the news or something like that, and so people are already on the run. So I think it's going to be an interesting zombie book. It's also like in winter, so she gets stranded at a house, I want to say. Basically she gets into an accident and she remembers nothing, and she wakes up in somebody's house, and he claims to have saved her, but she can't leave because there's a blizzard outside, but she doesn't remember anything and she doesn't know if she can trust this stranger. So I'm excited to read this. I think this one is going to be more of a well, what do you consider paranormal? I don't know. So this might count for that prompt as well. I don't know. But I'm going to read this for that prompt. Because like paranormal to me, I always think of ghosts, but I guess that's like anything paranormal, because when I like googled paranormal books, like a whole bunch of different things came up, like vampires and werewolves and fae, and like it was all of that. So I don't know. But I lost the romance section in my library a couple weeks ago, and I picked up this romance novel, Season of the Wolf by Maria Vale. I think this one is interesting because it does have like the alpha aspect of werewolves. If you know anything about like werewolf romances, there's like an alpha. But this one, the alpha is a woman, and I love that gender swap there. So I am really interested to read this. So yeah, we'll see. I think I'm going to, maybe I'll actually start reading this because I want to break from the scary. So I think I want to try to take a nap, so I might lay down and read a little bit of this and take a nap. And then yeah. Happy Monday, everyone. It is already past the afternoon. I've not read anything yet today. I was finishing up a video to post, and I did finish that, so huzzah. I did not read, I think I said last night that I was gonna read this in the dark for one of the prompts, but I did not get to it. I got sucked into watching Loki. I am really bad at keeping up with shows and keeping up with like new releases when it comes to movies and TV series. Like I'm just really bad at keeping up with that, just mostly because I prefer to read than be watching TV, and I can't do both at the same time. So I have been pressured to watch Loki. I watched the first episode of the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, whatever that's called, and I didn't like the first episode, so that's why I hadn't continued. I'm gonna finish it eventually because I did hear that it gets better, but my sister told me to just skip it and watch Loki for now, and whew, it's so good, so good. I just was really happy to finally have watched it. I watched all 4 episodes that are currently up, and I can't wait to watch the next episode that comes on Thursday, I don't remember, but anyway, I did not read anything else except I did start, I think it's called Bad Guy by Ruby Dixon. It is a romance novel. I'm going to count it for this readathon because it's about, like, there are aliens in it, so I feel like that counts for, like, Summerween, and paranormal. Would you count aliens as paranormal? I don't know. I think I might just count them. And so yeah, I'm gonna read that. I'm trashy romance novel, which I'm completely okay with. That's what I want to read right now. I think it's like the beginning or a part of a series with different, like, indie authors for, like, villains, which I think is fun. Obviously, we all love a good villain if we're all super interested in watching Loki. I just finished A Gift for a Ghost by Borja Gonzalez. I think I'm gonna give this book 5 stars, even though I have no idea what I just read. It's very, like, kind of like a simple story, but, like, I still don't really know what was going on, but I really liked it. I did really like the art style. I just thought it was very well done, and so interesting, and I like how it went back and forth between, like, full color and black and white, and yeah. So this graphic novel, I think it's going to be kind of hard to explain, but it takes place over 2 different time periods. One of 1856 with Teresa, who is a young aristocrat who is more interested in writing avant-garde horror poetry than making a suitable marriage. And then the other perspective is 2016, 3 teenage girls who want to start a punk band called the Black Holes. And this one follows Gloria the most. Gloria is the ghost. She likes to dress up in different costumes. I'm assuming, like, the author doesn't really give much depth to the characters, as in, like, past, so I don't know why she wears costumes, but you get a hint of it being almost like a coping mechanism for something that may have happened to her in the past. And they are connected, the 2 storylines are connected in an interesting way, and then the ending kind of was just like, what just happened? Because it kind of ends where it began, and I didn't realize that until I was like, oh, and then I kind of, like, went back to reread the beginning. I was like, what? So it's a very strange graphic novel. I can't say that I know completely what it's meant to be about. I might not be smart enough to interpret that, but I still really liked it, so I think I'm gonna give it 5 stars. Very strange graphic novel, definitely not for everyone, as it doesn't have, like, a linear story in the way that, like, it has a beginning and you come to an ending. It kind of is just like a moment. But I really enjoyed it. I also have been reading a lot of Voices in the Snow, which I am done reading it for the night because it is too late for me to continue reading this book at night. I'm on page 154 and it's a little less than halfway. This is really interesting because it's about the girl who, you know, gets into that car accident and then is rescued by this dude who I don't know what to think about him. Like, he seems like a really good person who is stuck in a horrible situation, but what if he's not? What if he is manipulating her and he's really the bad guy? I don't know what to think, and it's stressing me out. So I'm going to hopefully, I don't know that I'd finish this tomorrow because I can't really read a bunch of it. What I hate about horror is not knowing whether I'm going to get a happy ending or a hopeful ending or something like that, and I need that in my life right now. So that's kind of where I'm at with this book. Also, like, this cover, to me, that looks like a frozen baby doll's face, and it is creepy. But there's not a baby doll in this book yet, and it's a little concerning that there might be, and I can't handle it. The, like, main spooky thing that's happening is that she thinks that she's seeing, or she is, who knows, seeing a, like, emaciated woman who's, like, popping up around the house, but she's the only one who's seeing her. The guy isn't, so I'm just like, is he lying to her and she's there? Like, I don't know. Okay, so I'm done reading these books for tonight. I might try to read something else before I go to bed. I did start reading this book the other day, Season of the Wolf by Maria Vale. It's super confusing, alright, like, in the very beginning. I don't know if this is, like, a part of a series, but, like, yes, it is. It is the 4th book in a series. No wonder I'm so confused. So maybe I need to see if my library has the 1st book. So maybe I'll do that. Good night. Happy Wednesday. Tomorrow's the last day of the readathon, so I'm really just hoping that I finish Voices in the Snow. I've got still a little less than half of it because I didn't read any of it at work today, and I haven't read any of it yet today. Actually, just kidding. I read a total of 8 pages. So I'm going to try to read some of this tonight, but not for too long because I'm a chicken and I feel like it's going to get real scary. But I just had book club, my library book club. We don't usually meet in the summer, so instead what we're doing is just meeting and talking about books that we've read recently instead of, like, talking about a specific book, which is actually really fun. I enjoy it, even though I don't really have any interest in reading the majority of the books that they talk about. One person did talk about, like, a Leonardo da Vinci biography, which I hate biographies, but I was just like, that actually sounds really interesting. So, I don't know. Who knows? Some of them were already on my TBR, but one thing I just wanted to... I am not a fan of Kristen Hanna. Not that I'm, like, an unfan, it's just, like, I've never read any of her books, so I have no opinion on her either way. But, like, somebody said this about one of her books. I don't think it was very good literature, but it was very engaging. And I'm just like, what do you define as good literature? What people have told you is good literature? Something that is older than 50 years? I don't be mean. I'm not trying to be mean. I just, like, it bothers me when people say things like that, because I'm like, if it was engaging, then why doesn't that make it good literature? Does it have to be written like a Nobel Peace Prize winner in order for it to be good literature? I don't know. That was my takeaway from this book club. Because I'm petty. But yeah, I think it's fun too because, like, I'm definitely the youngest person in the book club, which is not a big deal to me at all. But I have very differing tastes from all of them. So the books that I talked about Piranesi because I've read it most recently. It's also on the women's shortlist, the shortlist for the women's fiction prize, whatever it's called. So I was like, well, I might be interested in that. Somebody actually wrote it down, so win. But yeah, so I really need to finish reading this. Grand total of things that I've read for this readathon: Hunted, that graphic novel. Now, I did finish Bad Guy by Ruby Dixon. Ruby Dixon, is that her name? It's a book in her Risdiverse series about aliens. I'm counting it. Aliens, which I honestly feel like I've already forgotten about. No, it's a very interesting book. It's basically about this woman who was abducted by aliens. Basically, like all of her alien romance, her science fiction romance, are about like humans who are abducted by aliens for whatever reason to be sold on like the alien black market or whatever, as slaves for various reasons. And so she is sold to this one man who, like, as a gift, or not, she's given to him as a gift. And he's like, what do I do with a human? So basically she just works in the kitchen and like cleans. And, which I mean, like, as far as the other humans, she's got pretty good. Until there's this, so the man who owns her is a, like, gladiator maker. Like, he trains gladiator, well, he doesn't do the training, but he buys them, to fight in these gladiator battles. And he acquires this new alien man, who's supposed to be, what did they call him? The Ruiner. And this is a romance novel. I don't know if I said that, but so basically the gladiator guy is like, I'm not fighting for you unless you give me her, which is like despicable, obviously, but they actually, I like it because it is a friends to lovers romance, which I think is really fun for like an alien romance, or a science fiction romance anyway. So yeah. Is it good literature? No, but it was very engaging. If I were to rate it off the top of my head, probably give it 3 stars, just because it was good. It was an easy read, just nothing that blew my mind. Maybe it's also because I've read so many of her books like right in a row that they're kind of all bleeding together, kind of feel like the same thing, which isn't a bad thing. It's just a bad thing when I go and rate them because I feel like they're all the same, so I want to give them all 3 stars. But I don't mind them being all the same. Like, I've read 5 of her books now, and like, I read 5 books from one author in 30 days. So just like, that like says something, you know? So it's not that she's a bad writer, because I enjoy having the like expected outcomes of these books. It's just, they're not going to get a higher rating from me because they're not unique from each other, which, why should they be? It's a whole cycle, you know? This vlog hasn't been very spooky, and I'm sorry, not sorry. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and sit down and read. My goal is to get to page 200. So that means I would have 140 pages to read tomorrow. So let's try to knock out, because I'm on page 160. I'll use my new bookmark. To mark my spot. So that was a lot faster than I thought it was going to be. I made it to my little page marker there. Page 227 was that? 222, which I am glad, because it finally is like picking up. The one thing, and this is only the second book that I've read by Darcy Coates, is that I'm noticing that she's a very slow writer, and like, I wouldn't mind it for horror or like a thriller if it weren't so repetitive. Like, so she's trying to build that atmosphere as one does in a thriller or a horror novel, but she's doing it in the same way multiple times, and that's what I find annoying. Especially with this one. With Hunted, I guess it was a lot easier to have more variation, because while it was still the same like setting, the forest that they were in, they were getting to a new part that they hadn't been to before, whereas the majority of this book so far has taken place in the house that she wakes up in after her car accident. And the thing that is happening is with the same thing without giving too much away. So that's kind of why it's a little annoying. But at this point, she kind of, something happens and she remembers like those missing hours that she had before the car accident. So she remembers why she was driving, where she was going, and the crazy things. So I'm getting to, while I don't know the outcome of the book, I at least know the outcome of a particular thing that I was concerned about, and I'm happy about how that came out. I'm trying not to spoil this book, but like, yeah, if you know me, you could probably guess, like, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, but it's like 9:20ish, I think, so I think I'm going to maybe read one more chapter and then quit for the night. Yeah, so that'll bring me up to page 232, and that'll leave me only 110 pages to read, right? Is that the correct math? Yes, 110 pages to read tomorrow, which is a lot better than 140. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So yeah. Happy Thursday, last day of Summerween. I have just finished Voices in the Snow. So I'm gonna wrap up this vlog now, and I'll start with Voices in the Snow. So I'm giving this book 3 stars. There were some things that I liked about it. About like maybe 60%, I was like, maybe this will be a 5-star read. And then there was something that I didn't like. So this is a horror novel that's kind of like an apocalypse zombie type. They're not like actual zombies, but kind of a similar kind of vibe to zombies, which I liked that part. I would have preferred actual zombies, but it's not a big deal. There's one part okay, so I explained that this book is about Claire, who gets into a car accident on the way to pick up her aunt so that she can go, her and her aunt can go stay in her sister's bunker because of the whole end of the world thing. And she gets into a car accident, and when she wakes up, she doesn't remember anything about why she was in the car going to her aunt's place. And so the man who saves her is this heir to this manor, and like the book is pretty much about them trying to survive before like they figure out what's going on, what they think is just like a really bad storm, and then, you know, things are happening. She thinks that she's seeing things, he thinks that she's kind of crazy, thinks that maybe the stress is getting to her, and so it's just like them trying to survive and then finding out a little bit more about what's going on. And then the big kind of climax at the end is the part that I didn't like. And I'm not going to tell you because obviously that's a spoiler. And it's just a personal kind of preference. I'm not saying that it's a bad part of the book. It's just like I didn't personally like it, but anyone else may as well really enjoy it. Whatever. So I'm giving it 3 stars because I felt like it was a little repetitive in the beginning. Like the first 50% was kind of repetitive, and then I didn't like that whole climax at the end. I didn't mind that it was happening, but the kind of like big reveal kind of thing I thought was kind of dumb. This is the first book in a 4-book series. All of the books are published, they're all out, the series is done, and I don't know if I want to continue. The second book does not sound interesting to me at all, but the third and the fourth one do, so I'm kind of like, should I keep reading? Should I try to find a summary of the second one? My sister's read all of them, so I'm gonna ask her. But yeah, so 3 stars. I also am like, I'm just not a huge fan of horror. One element that I really enjoyed about this book is that there's our 2 main characters, 2 only characters, develop feelings for each other, and we all know I love romance. But it's not a romance novel. It's definitely not anywhere near like a center focal point of the book. So if you're not a romance lover, then I don't think it would be a big deal for this book. So 3 stars. I started this vlog with Hunted by Darcy Coates, which I'm also giving 3 stars, just because I felt like it was a little bit too long for what it was, and there were some other parts of it that I was just not a fan of. Overall, I thought it was pretty good. I liked this one. I think is very different from Darcy Coates' other books, and I don't want to tell you why because that might be a spoiler. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Maybe that'll be intriguing to you. I did like the thing that I like about both of these books, and maybe it's just like something that's, you know, pretty prevalent in horror, is the aspect of an isolated setting. I love isolated settings, so I liked it for that reason. And then I will say I liked the ending of this book better than I liked the ending of that book. Okay, and then I also read A Gift for a Ghost, this wonderful graphic novel that I'm still thinking about. I definitely gave it 5 stars because I love the artwork. I love the weirdness of it and the kind of like unexplainedness. I honestly feel like some people would find it too confusing, which is not like, I mean, it might be an issue for those people, but for me, it's not. I just really liked it, and I think it's something that I'll think about a lot and that I will want to reread again. So definite 5 stars. And then I also read Bad Guy by Ruby Dixon, and I'm just really curious if she named it Bad Guy because of the Billie Eilish song. But yeah, I read that, gave it 3 stars as well. So overall, I mean, 3-star reading vlog. But that's, again, probably going to happen because I don't really like horrors or thrillers as much as other people do. So my ratings might be a little lower. So there it is. I'm done. I finished. I read 4 books. What were the prompts? The first one, let me grab my book. Bake or make a drink with spooky read. I make iced coffee every morning, but I'm not anywhere near functional enough to film that, so no proof, but it happened. Read a book in the dark. I read the graphic novel in the dark. Read a paranormal book. I think all of these books would count as paranormal except for the graphic novel. And Hunted, I guess. I don't know. I guess it really depends on what you count as paranormal. Anyway, read a horror book. Both of the Darcy Coates books definitely counted for that. And then read a book with black or orange on the cover. Orange. And that is black, not dark green, though it kind of looks dark green on the camera, but it is black. And then there's also black on this cover. So I did complete all of the prompts, and there was only 4 first books, and I read 4 books, so I feel really freaking accomplished for this week, even though it was a little stressful. I'm not gonna lie, this week has not been the best, but I'm glad that it's almost over. And I did enjoy Summerween. I always enjoy participating in readathons, especially readathons that are hosted by my favorite YouTubers, and I want to thank Gabby and Olivia for hosting this. It's really fun to do, and I hope that they continue doing it every year. With that being said, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in a new video soon. Bye!